and welcome to the First Watch podcast. My name is Drake. I will be your host for this podcast. I will be joined by a rotating group of friends who come together and discuss their first watches, whether they be from the 1920s, the 2020s, or anything in between. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy podcast, so if you haven't watched the movie already, you could either do one of two things. You could either, one, join us for the conversation and decide whether or not you want to watch the movie for the very first time, or two, you can pause this podcast, go watch the movie for the first time, and then come back and join us for the conversation. Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the combo. Hello, and welcome back to the First Watch podcast. Today, I have Josh on yet again. The last time he was on, we talked about A Hidden Life. We both were not the biggest fan of A Hidden Life. Afterwards, he brought the movie Riceboy Sleeps to my attention. This is a movie that I was not made aware of until he decided that this would be the next one that we would do for the podcast. And I'm really glad that he did. Josh, where did you hear about this movie?
I heard about it from the Intercut podcast.
Okay.
They did a summary of what they saw at a festival that year, and Riceboy Sleeps was on there, and it was brought to my attention through there, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really showed in the States. I don't know if it had a theatrical release because it was only 2020
2023, I think.
2023. Yeah, so it's rather recent. And I didn't see any sort of advertisement for it. I guess it played in the festivals, but outside of that, it never really played in the States. Did you guys get a release for it in the UK? I'm guessing not, because you guys don't really get releases like that either.
No.
Yeah.
I had to rent it, unfortunately.
This was obviously both of our first times watching it. The director, I don't really know much about the director. Do you know anything about them and their life? And
I'm not entirely sure. This is the first time. I think this is his debut, to be honest with you. So,
okay.
Incredible debut, but I think part of the mystery behind the film is just the fact that this is a semi-autobiographical tale of his life, kind of.
Gotcha.
So I think that's the point, maybe.
Yeah, go ahead and kind of do a little synopsis of what Riceboy Sleeps is about.
Right. So Riceboy Sleeps is set in the 1990s and follows an immigrant single mother who raises her teenage son in Canada, but she's kind of diagnosed with cancer, and it's her trying to battle through dealing with the cancer while also trying to raise her son. It is very powerful stuff. Very powerful.
It's a very heavy movie. I 100% did not know what I was getting into whenever I watched this movie. I like to go in blind, very much so. If you recommend a movie to me, I'm really not going to watch a trailer, do any research. I'm just going to throw it on and see what happens. And I knew that a good chunk of this was in Korean. That was a pain in the butt in the beginning, but that's because it was just hard as hell to find this movie. And that's a long story. But I didn't do any research. I just threw it on and was hoping to see that I would get a good movie, and I did. I enjoyed the hell out of Riceboy Sleeps. In comparison to A Hidden Life, this is a much better movie than we actually chose.
Better than that, honestly. Even The Bride, in some ways.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I don't really like that much either, honestly. But, so yeah, this is set in the 90s, for pretty much the entirety of the movie. I like the way that, this movie kind of bookends. Do you get what I mean by that?
It starts in one place and then it ends in another, kind of.
Yeah. So it starts with him looking. Obviously, he was a child whenever it started. He was maybe 10, 11, in the beginning of the movie.
I'd say
showing all
as
his
young as
struggles.
8, maybe
Yeah,
7
yeah,
or 8,
yeah.
because
He was like
he's
in
in
elementary
primary
school.
school. Yeah, elementary school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, he was going through elementary school, having a hard time, being bullied, obviously, for being Korean, um, and having no one else in
which
Canada
is where the
that looks
title
like
comes
him.
from. They called him Rice Boy because
Yeah, they call
he
him Rice
goes to
Boy a lot.
school because he eats sushi and that's got rice in it, etc. They called him Rice Boy.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, so it starts with him all looking like a cherub child, and then it ends with him having kind of that same look and that same demeanor that he had as a kid. Throughout the kind of middle of the movie, he was very hardened, very just like doing the typical thing that most victims of bullying go through: drugs, alcohol, all these things that he was doing to suppress a lot of the feelings that he was feeling, being different from everybody else. And then at the end, whenever he's with his mother in South Korea at his father's gravesite, you see his shaved head, glasses that he didn't wear throughout the majority of the movie because he didn't want
his
to wear
contacts.
glasses. Yeah, he only wore contacts. But because people were making fun of his glasses and everything, so he didn't want to wear them, obviously. At the end of the movie, in glasses, shaved head, wearing his father's jacket. So he went from having that look in the beginning to having that look at the end, kind of to signify that, like, he's going back more to his more regular self, in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm far off on that,
No, you're
but
not reaching. You're not reaching. He goes back to that that childhood that he had with his mother. Going back to, I guess, the olden days, quote unquote, which it was very reminiscent of past lives a little bit, where it starts with that shot and then it ends with that shot. You know, it starts with a certain shot and then that shot is the exact same in the end. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It
yeah, yeah,
bookends, like you said. So
yeah. I like the way
coincidentally,
that they did that.
past lives is Korean, so it
Well,
kind
yeah.
of
I
correlates a
wonder
little
if there
bit.
was any influence there. I know. Well, I when was Past Lives? It
And
was
past
probably
lives
around
was
the same time.
24.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, this came out before that. I did actually look up Anthony Shim because I didn't see much talked about him. He had one other movie in 2019 that he directed.
Oh, okay.
That I'll probably go check out at some point called Daughter. But yeah, other than that, this is like his only other movie. It's Riceboy Sleeps and Daughter, and that's it. Um, what'd you think of the mother? I don't know her name.
Well, she's fantastic. Honestly,
She's great.
if the Academy saw this, hey, she'd be in my book. She'd be nominated for me, but um, she's
Yeah.
empathetic. She's very observant of her son, which is what mothers should be. She's also kind of clueless towards her disease, which is the saddest part because when she's, spoiler alert, um, when she's in the hospital and she was experiencing back pain, they said that she's got cancer in her liver, lungs, it's spreading. And she was like, so she's writing down the notes, but she doesn't understand what she's writing. That's the saddest part, is a lot of people don't actually understand their diagnosis. But because she's got that language barrier, it's 10 times worse for her. It's a sad realization on the character, but it's so good, man. Like, her performance is so natural.
Yeah. It felt like she was actually going through that as opposed to playing someone who's going through that. A lot of
Yeah.
times, like with smaller movies, you will get that feeling of
Mhm.
like people just playing a part as opposed to being the part. And she was more so being the part than playing it, which I thought was pretty freaking cool. Yeah, I that scene in particular was very like grounding and it was dark. Um, but that was the scene that really got me. I was waiting for some sort of like emotional pull because I could already tell like from the beginning that it was gonna get something out of me
It's
emotionally.
gonna throw a curveball in there
Yeah,
somehow.
somewhere. and I just didn't know where it was gonna be. It starts off really fucking wild of like them
Mm-hmm.
talking about how the father had schizophrenia and then he just killed
Yep.
himself, and it's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yeah, we're going
okay.
there. We're going there already.
I was like, this is 2 minutes in. Okay, interesting. I was like, okay, cool, whatever you guys want to do. And to see it kind of, it seemed like gloss over that at first, and then make its way to her cancer diagnosis. It felt like it was kind of like, damn, this poor family can't win nothing.
They
They
can't catch
can't
a break,
get,
can they?
they can't catch a break
They
from
first have to immigrate
anything.
to Canada.
Yeah,
Then he's got schizophrenia. He kills himself. The son is getting bullied. Can't catch. She's getting cancer. They can't catch a break, bro.
no, and
So,
I
but
would
some
not be
people can't. Some people
surprised.
just cursed, unfortunately.
They really couldn't catch a break. They were
No.
definitely cursed from the get go. I don't know how old he was. I wasn't really paying attention to that part because I was just trying to make sure um that I actually got a a version of the movie that actually shows the Korean subtitles or the English subtitles for the Korean. Um, did it say how old he was whenever his father killed himself?
I think it did.
He must have been, huh?
I don't think it did. He must have been young
Okay.
though.
Yeah, because he didn't really know his father, like, at all.
No.
And his mother really wouldn't talk about his father as he was growing up. He she kept everything shrouded in mystery, which could only make things worse as a kid as you're growing up. Um, the only thing that could make it worse than that is kind of just talking shit about your father the entire time as you're growing up. So she didn't really revert to that, but she did kind of just refuse to talk about him. And I think that's kind of what caused him to go in the direction that he did as far as his behavior goes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that personally in my own life in many ways. So I can relate to that. There's not many things that I can relate to in this movie, you know, being a pasty white kid who's never had to integrate anywhere or, you know, anything like that. Um, you know, race wise, but there are certain little aspects of his life that I can connect to and be like, yeah, I understand what you're going through. Were there any aspects that you kind of were like, oh damn, like I kind of feel you on that.
Um, Mainly just the childhood bullying, I guess, because I've been through that. So apart from that, it's mainly just something I don't really relate to because I'm not I'm not an immigrant. I'm not um going through that situation, so I can't really relate on that one. But in terms of just the bullying, I think the bullying was the big thing.
Yeah. Do you think that her working in that factory may have caused a lot of the problems that she had, cancer wise,
Possibly,
or at least been like a catalyst?
but I guess liver cancer is one of those things that just happens. There's no
Yeah.
real
I mean,
root to that.
it's really heavy in like heavy drinkers. Um, if you're someone who drink a lot, like liver cancer is definitely something that you're gonna have to worry about and deal with maybe one time in your life if
Mhm.
you're an alcoholic. Um, but I never really knew like what they were actually packaging or anything in that factory, so I never really knew like what she was being exposed to in that factory, other than general like factory fumes and shit. Um, so I don't know if maybe that was a contributing factor. Um,
Maybe.
I think she smoked a little bit, but I don't think that would be a cause for liver cancer. Um, I did find her kind of like little um interactions with everybody else very endearing, like at work, because you know they didn't have very many people in Canada that were Korean that went from South Korea to Canada. So it was really cool to see her kind of find her people, quote unquote, in her work. Um, and their little dynamic was really fun. And watching them kind of like gossip with each other and try to figure life out and figure ways to um, quote unquote assimilate to the environment that they're in was really fun. The
Yeah.
scene where they're all sitting there and trying to figure out English names for their family so that they can better integrate
Yeah.
into the world without having any issues.
David, no, my son's Kevin. Like,
Yeah,
screwing him
they
up.
kept picking up like really obvious English names. So everyone's like,
Hmm.
no, 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 I've got that already. This person's got that already. We can't do that. You got to find something else, which I thought was really funny. I've never really seen that in international films before. So I thought that it was really funny that they actually put that in there.
Yeah, it was fun
How did
seeing that.
how did you feel about the pacing of this movie?
Um, I for one loved slow cinema.
Yeah.
It's my favorite kind of cinema, so it wasn't an issue for me,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, in
Um,
comparison to the movie we did last time,
yeah.
Hidden Life, that was painfully slow.
Yeah, that was painfully
Uh,
dull as well. This isn't dull at all.
no, it luckily it kind of gets you from the get go. Um, I was glad that even though it was kind of a slower film, it was not as slow as a Hidden Life, or even as slow as a lot of things that I've seen that are more modern.
Mhm.
Like recently this year, but um, yeah, I really enjoyed the pacing in this film. I think that it's really well done. I think Anthony Shim, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Um, someone who really hasn't done much as far as directing goes, to pull something off like this in the way that he did, uh, shows a lot of promise for like later on down the road. I want to see more things like this from him.
Hmm. I just want to see
I
more films like
haven't.
this in general, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah. These slice of life films, as I like to call them, are very nice because it's like it's one of the only ways that you can walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, or at least the closest way that you can walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. And that's kind of what we need now more than ever. Um, with the way that people are behaving in the world, and viewing other people, we see this a lot.
we need more empathy.
Um,
That's what we need.
Yeah,
But
and a lot of that is not, um, happening. Like, as we're
no.
recording this, um, the episode for the movie I Swear was released maybe an hour ago from the time that I,
I haven't
we're
seen that
recording
yet.
this. It's really good. Um, and, ooh, empathy was a big thing in that movie just like it is in this one. And like you said, and that was kind of the overarching conversation that we had for I Swear, was that we need more empathy. Like, that's gone. We don't really value human life in the way that we should. Um, with wars going on, people treating each other like shit just for having opinions, um, people not willing to do a modicum of research for uh, disabilities and shit like that. Like, it's becoming a problem. Like, the empathy is just out the window. Um, so we definitely need more of that than we do less of it. And this is one of those movies that showcases how much empathy can go a long way because, you see the kid get bullied in the very beginning and it kind of chooses a trajectory for his life for his early teens and close to adulthood years because I don't think he graduated by this point. So as he's getting older and becoming a young adult, you can see that it really affected him, and the way that he's going to behave is based on a lot of the problems that he had as a kid, dealing with bullying and dealing with a lot of the shit that he was dealing with. I dealt with that a lot too. You said that you were bullied as a kid. I was too. A lot of the things that he was doing in this movie, I ended up doing in college. And that was the behavior that I had for like 10 years of like drinking everything away and and kind of shutting it all out. And it's all due to a lack of empathy from a lot of people, usually just due to not wanting to understand or not understanding in general. And that's something that really has to change
Yeah.
in the future, because if it doesn't, we're gonna have a lot of fucking problems. And I think that something like Riceboy Sleeps can really shine a light on people who are, you know, migrating from a different area, who have no idea what's going on, going into a predominantly English spoken area, and then having to not really live, but more so survive and just figure things out from there, and not really having much of a safety net for themselves where they arrive, because they didn't have any family there in Canada. Um, it was just uh, the kid and his mom. That was it, and they had to figure everything out from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it would be really nice if a lot of people could see a lot more movies like this, in hopes that, you know, maybe they'll kind of change their ways. I doubt that it will do anything, because a lot of people are very stubborn in the way that they behave. But it's movies like Rice Boy Sleeps and I Swear and all these other things that allow people to kind of walk a mile in somebody else's shoes and get a different perspective. Um, was there anything that you kind of learned, um, about, like, maybe this situation, or like a viewpoint that you saw in this movie and you're like, "Oh shit, like I didn't really think about that before."
Me, it's mainly just how hard people have it when they leave their home. Like they left their country for a better life and they ended up worse off. You know what I mean? Um, it is extremely heartbreaking and it's a very sad film, but it's a very important one. Um, there was so much going on with it in terms of, again, what we're talking about, empathy, the lack of empathy that people have for them. Um, like the fact that she wants David to have she wants to shelter him, but he wants to get into like the drugs, the alcohol. He wants to get into the things that will make him fit in. But she doesn't want that for him because she left Korea with a dream, but she ended up losing that dream for reality. And it's a perfect examination of the American dream or the Canadian dream or whatever being not a real thing, basically. It's similar to Minari, where Minari is very much about the American dream, but the dream ends up being not that dreamy. It's a sad reality, but it's something that people have to face on a daily basis, and it's just a heartbreaking realization, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't seen Minari yet. I need to see it. Um, that's one of those movies that I need to tick off the watch list myself. Um, but yeah, the conversation of like the American dream, the Canadian dream, whatever the dream of like absolute freedom, because that's essentially what they're looking for is absolute freedom, is very interesting, and it is something that like a lot of um uh foreign films and a lot of like, families surrounding families from like Asia or Europe or whatever, they look for, because they're all like trying to move to the America and to Canada to look for those better lives. And it sucks that, you know, they this mother was trying so hard to get somewhere for her son, and it only ends up in a really dark situation. But sadly, I mean, that's just life, you know. In an ideal world, obviously, she would get there, and then the son would do, something um, grandiose with his life after dealing with bullying and dealing with his mother having cancer, and we would see that at the end of the film. But this
We
isn't one of
don't.
those films. Yeah, this is a film almost based in reality. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's a good thing. I think that having a film like this that showcases something that's a little more grounded is better than having something that is like this almost pornification of the American dream or the immigrant dream rather. Um, I know it's really dark, but that's what makes it really good because you're like, oh yeah, shit. Sometimes life sucks, and
Does suck,
sometimes you
man.
need that. You need that like reminder of like, you know, your life could be worse.
Yeah, 100%.
I think this is one of those movies that easily does that. That like can shine a light to a lot of people that, maybe I don't have it so bad.
Mhm.
I have to do that sometimes to myself. Where I'm like, yeah, I may have mild CP and stuff, but like it ain't so bad. Could be worse. And this is one of those movies that maybe go, yeah, it could definitely be worse.
It could be worse, yeah,
What did you
100%.
think about the kid? I've never
Oh, the
seen
kid
him
was
in anything
great. The
before.
kid was great. I think that's the first time I've seen him too. He was great.
Yeah. I hadn't seen him in anything. I'm curious to see what else he's done. Um in fact I might be able to find him here pretty quickly. He's done a few things, yeah. Mostly smaller films, obviously, but yeah, I think he did a fantastic job. I wish that it was kind of recognized by the Academy. I know a lot of times, a lot of these films. You said this earlier in the podcast that you wish it would have been recognized by the Academy as well. And we're kind of in a place right now with the Oscars and the Academy where not a lot of movies are actually being watched by the people who are
But I think they
voting on these
rectifying that
things.
by making it a rule that they have to. But
Yeah,
I
whether
don't
or not
believe
they're
them
actually
one
doing
bit.
that,
I don't believe them one
yeah,
bit, bro. Like,
I don't know how they're going to ensure that happens. But because I don't necessarily
gotta
trust
send a
that.
bouncer to stand by their door, make sure they do it. Like,
Yeah, it's time to break out those book quizzes that we used to take as a kid and be like, all right,
BuzzFeed
so
quizzes, yeah.
yeah, those like AR tests that we took as a kid. Like, all right, buddy, all right, let's talk about these movies that you watch for the Oscars. Um, yeah, I wish that this would have been recognized a little bit more. Maybe if it were recognized um,
Maybe if it were
in
picked up by a
the
studio
Academy.
that actually gave a shit. Because I don't
Yeah,
feel like the studio which picked it up even distributed it properly.
no, I
Like, it hasn't even got a Metacritic score, may I say.
does it not?
No, I
No,
don't
it
think it
doesn't.
does.
The
So,
only thing that I see by any sort of organization outside of like the production company is like TIFF, and that's it.
mm,
Like saying anything about the movie. Um, which I think that's
no, it
where
doesn't
it
have a
it
score. It
premiered.
has a user
But
score
like
of like four people have seen it, apparently, according to that.
that's crazy. Yeah, it doesn't really have much on like there's maybe 23,000 people that have watched it on Letterboxd. Um, which is a lot lower than a lot of the films that we've talked about on this um on this podcast. But it just kind of showcases that a lot of times a lot of good movies are not really talked about. They're kind of tucked away.
Kind of
They're not
forgotten.
really. Yeah, yeah. This is one of those movies that definitely needs to be um brought to light and shown to a lot more people. Were there any connections that you made from this movie that kind of like connects to another movie that you may have seen in the past?
Maybe just past lives with the Korean angle,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. In terms of other things, it's very singular, which I liked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that it's shot on 16mm, gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous,
I
man.
I didn't know that.
It's shot on
Um,
16mm, which is ridiculous for a film like that. It's so good though. A lot
yeah.
of filmmakers just haven't got the balls to use 16mm, but Anthony does. So
Yeah, I wonder if that's I mean, obviously that's what he wanted to do from the get-go, but um editing that has to be rather difficult, especially nowadays when everything
I
is
reckon.
so automated and digital.
Mhm.
Um but the editing seems seamless. Like
Oh, it
everything
was. It was
seemed
seamless.
perfect. Like the cinematography was great, the editing was great. Um I didn't see anything that stuck out to me that was kind of like, "Oh, that's odd." You know? That was like, "Oh, that seems oddly placed," or um, out of place. Was there anything that you maybe didn't like about the film at all?
No, for once.
No, for
No.
once, no.
Not a single thing I can think of that was a negative in my eyes. I just love everything about it, dude. It is kind of a thing I look for.
Yeah,
So
kind of right up your alley. Kind of,
mhm.
yeah, I get that. I think that's pretty much up my alley as well. Um, the chemistry between we've talked about the mother and son separately, but the chemistry between the mother and son um was really good. I did not
Mm.
expect that. It almost feels as if, like, they had spent some time together, um, separately, like, when they weren't filming to kind of get some sort of rapport. It didn't feel flat or
It
or
just felt
plastic or
organic.
weird. It felt
Just
really
felt organic.
organic. Yeah, it didn't feel really strange or out of place.
No.
Um, I think you really see that as they're going up that mountain at the end to go
Yeah, when he carries
to
her.
the gravesite. Yeah, and he carries her, and, like, you could actually see the worry in his face as his mother is kind of basically deteriorating in front of him,
Mhm.
because her cancer had progressed quite a bit at that time, um, and it had gotten worse. So you can really see, like, the care that he has for her, as they're going up that mountain that, you didn't really see in the beginning of the movie, which I thought was really nice, and you don't really see that for a lot of movies for, like, smaller films in general because they don't really have the resources or the time to spend a lot of time together. Maybe that's just a mark of, like, good acting and um, really professional actors, but it felt like they had at least spent a little bit of time together, which was nice.
Mm. Yeah, it was
Uh,
nice.
how do you feel about the music?
Oh, the music was beautiful, especially towards the back end.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm looking to see who did the score, um but the films like, I look for film scores a lot in movies, like, that's one of my things. I love film scores. I listened to them quite a bit whenever I was going through surgeries. That was the one thing that, like, helped me calm down, was listening to different film scores. And this one, like, it felt like it melded in perfectly with the movie. It didn't feel like it stood out or trying to
Didn't
grab
try
your
and
attention.
overextend itself at any point. It was just part of the film itself, you know?
Yeah, it was a perfect meld
Didn't try and
of
showboat either.
yeah. It
It didn't
wasn't
try and
like,
be like,
"Hey,
"Oh,
we
look at
are a
me,
film score."
I'm a music score." Like, it was
Yeah,
just
no.
like it was there.
It felt nice, and it was kinda like it having the dark tones of the actual content of the film, and then, like, this very kinda melodic, film score underneath it set, like, a weird undertone that was, like, beautiful because it was kind of separate, but also, like, cohesive. It was great. I don't know really how to explain it because I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, but, that's kind of the best way for me to explain it is that it worked perfectly for this film and for the content.
It did.
I you know, there's not a lot that I can say about this movie other than the fact that I loved it. Um, I
Rating out
don't
of 10?
think that I would say out of 10, probably a 9.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what I'm on right now.
like 9, 9.5 maybe. I um yeah, probably. I think I rated it like a 4.5 on Letterboxd if I
Yeah, I
remember.
did the same, yeah.
Um,
4.5.
actually no, but I fixed it just now. Um, but yeah, it was like I had to think about this movie a little bit. It wasn't one of those um oh yeah, automatic masterpieces kind of thing for me. There are a few movies that I see either in theaters or at home where
There's
I'm
only
like,
a
oh yeah,
few
this is
movies that have
automatic
that
master.
status, I think.
Right. This was
Yeah,
one of
this
those
will
movies
take a
that I
little
just
bit of time for it to get there, but it might do eventually. I don't.
yeah,
It's
I
close.
think in time people will definitely come to appreciate it. I
Mhm.
know that it took me a little bit of time to really appreciate the content of the film. Like I had to sit with it for a day or two um, before I could really make a decision on how I felt about it. I don't know about you, um,
No, I did it
but
straight
whenever I
away.
watch it, yeah,
I did it
I
straight away. I was like, "Oh, this is my shit, man. This is
yeah, oh no, I
straight away."
enjoyed it. I just didn't know like where I sat as far as like the themes of the movie and the things that like the overarching stuff in the movie. Like I didn't know how I felt about the way that it was portrayed and done, which obviously was done really well. But this is one of those movies that you could really sit with for a couple days and like let it kind of ruminate in your mind while you're doing things, and it'll kind of peek up in your head when you're just going about your day and you're like, oh yeah, thinking about Riceboy Sleeps again. I did that a couple times, a few days after I had seen the movie, where it was kind of like, oh shit, like yeah, that was a good movie. I enjoyed that. Um, I want to see more stuff from Anthony Shem, as I said before. Is there anything that you think that like any sort of material that you think that Anthony Shem could probably tackle that he could do really well
Dude, the
based on
world's
what
his
you saw
oyster.
from Raceway Sleeps?
The world is his oyster. He can do whatever he wants at this point. I wish a studio give him the biggest check, biggest blank check to do whatever he wants, but
Yeah,
it's not gonna
I
happen.
don't I don't know what production company he did it out of. I think it was obviously a smaller production company, but I think that
A24 should pick him up for something.
yeah,
100%. Look what they did for
they
Past
should.
Lives. They got that Best Picture nomination.
Yeah,
They should give him something similar. He's of that
yeah,
caliber, bro. And he's
he
only
is.
what, 2 movies in? Two
He
movies?
got 2
Like
movies.
he's of
Yeah,
that caliber.
the first one was 2016. So he had like a 6 year period in between his 2 movies as far as the things he's directed. I don't know
Yeah,
if he's written other things.
he's on that Celine Song wavelength where
Yeah,
he tells immigrant stories. He semi autobiographical past lives is kind of like that.
yeah,
Um, which is funny considering she's married to Potion Seller. So, but like, yeah, it's like really interesting that it. I just wish it did a lot better, bro, in terms of
yeah.
like awards and getting seen by people because no one I know has seen this. No one I even know has
No,
heard of it.
yeah. I think whenever because you and I are both part of like film Twitter or whatever. Um, whenever I posted that I was watching this movie, like no one that I follow was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this," or "Oh yeah, this is on my watch list," or anything like that. Like no one said anything. I had like 1 or 2 people hit me up after the fact and they're like, "Hey, how was it?"
It's got
But
23,000 watches on Letterboxd,
yeah, yeah,
which
that's
not a lot.
that's it.
And I bet
And
you
8,000
half of
reviews.
that was at the film festival. I
Yeah,
bet you half of it
yeah,
was at TIFF
yeah. And that was
for
what in
like the 3 days that
2022,
it was on.
21.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet you half of that was from TIFF
that was like from 5 years ago.
or from
So
critic circles, like not the
yeah,
wider public. You know, it's
yeah.
sad
It
because it
is
deserves
really
the
sad
love,
that
but
it really does. It's really sad that it didn't get any sort of distribution.
mhm.
I like I said, it was a pain in the ass for me to find. It was only on like um Amazon and on Fandango at home. And with Amazon, like I did not get proper um subtitles for the Korean.
Oh,
So either had to rent it and pay like, $7 from Apple TV or whatever, to watch the film, or watch it on Fandango at home and watch it with ads. So I obviously went for the ads, which kind of sucked and kind of derailed some of the emotions of the film in some cases, because it would just do a hard cut, right in like an emotional
You
build
have
up of the
liver
film.
cancer. Subscribe
Yeah,
to Burger
th-
King now. Get Burger King.
no joke. That's pretty much what happened. It
Really?
was like, yeah, oh yeah, during the cancer scene, it was like, okay, and ad. And I'm like, uh, what? Like, that's crazy choice to put it right there. Um, I think it's criminal that we don't have, we have all these streaming services that allow us to watch.
Dude, it
Um,
feels like it should fit on Mubi really well.
it really would fit on
I don't really
Mubi
like Mubi
or
anymore. I think
Criterion.
they're I think Mubi are really
They've gone off
um
the deep end a little bit.
not just that, it's their I'm not gonna get into it, but their standings on certain world
Yeah.
things are
Oh
not
no, I'm
good.
I'm that's kind of why I stopped like using Mubi. Um, Now granted, like I'm not one for like, oh yeah, boycott this, boycott that, but like that's kind of one of those things. I was just
Yeah,
like,
the links
yeah,
to
I don't
Sequoia
really use
Capital is not
Mubi.
very ethical,
Yeah,
but whatever.
yeah. Um, I was kind of like, yeah. I mean, I don't really use Mubi, so like me canceling my thing is not really more of a stance. It's kind of like I don't really use it anyways. It was originally like I only got it for the substance until I got my physical copy of the substance, and then I was like, okay, then I'm good. Um,
I got it for sentimental
and
value, and then when that gets a physical over here, I'm gonna cancel.
yeah, because I think that's going to Criterion now. I think that's got
Yeah, I don't
announced not
think
too
it's
long
going
ago.
Criterion over here though.
Oh, really? Not in the UK?
No, no.
Sure, Arrow would pick it up, or
Although I wouldn't
Umbrella
pick
might.
that up. I think it's just
Maybe.
Mubi that's doing it,
That's
potentially.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I think that there should. I don't want to advocate for more like streaming services being thrown down our throats, but I think that if TIFF were to, or one of these major like companies that showcases a lot of these films at film festivals like Sundance or whatever, if they were to have a streaming service and were to put a lot of these festival movies on a streaming service, something like Rice Boy Sleeps
It did
would
used to
actually be
have a streaming service for Sundance, I think. I don't remember when it was, but I
really,
think they did. Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had done something like that, or like Letterbox has their thing where people can rent
Yeah, that should be
uh
on there.
films. Yeah, it should. Letterbox, I doubt you're gonna see anything like this. But if you see this for whatever reason, um
Pick it up,
you
chumps.
yeah, seriously.
Buy
$3.99.
it.
Don't do some of this $13.99 bullshit that you've been doing for some of these films.
Mm.
Just make it $3.99 to rent for 30 days. And let people watch this movie. Um I think access has really become a question, or like a
This is
conversation.
difficult for a lot of films now. I've
It really
like
is.
Testament of Anne Lee. I I
Dude,
had I had to
yes,
go through so many loopholes to watch that shit. It's my
I
first
still
5 out of
can't
5
see
of
it.
the year, but like
Really?
I had to go through so many loopholes to find
You
it,
know,
dude. It's
I okay,
tough.
so I live in the Metro Atlanta area, which that may mean nothing to you, right?
No.
But generally, that means that I should have access to shit. And I don't have access to things like Testament of Anne Lee. I wouldn't have gotten access to things like Rice Boy Sleeps. Um, I think the main conversation that we could easily have for a movie like Rice Boy Sleeps is the access to art. I don't know if you paid attention to the conversations on film Twitter this week, with the Timmy Chalamet thing that kind of
I've
resurfaced
but
from 2019.
bro, people are taking that so out of context though.
They really are. And there was a woman that,
They're looking at they're looking at clips on Twitter and are running with it. They're
oh
looking at
yeah,
uh like clips on TikTok and running with it. Dude, watch
yeah,
the entire interview. He
yeah,
says the ballet is dying and he doesn't like it.
yeah. Well, my biggest qualm
Bro.
wasn't even with him. It was with a woman who was, like, commenting on his comments, being like, "Oh, well, the reason it's considered a higher art or considered whatever is because you have to pay more for it." It's like, but, like, that means there's gonna be less access. So, like, maybe it's not considered a higher
No,
art.
but these people are
Like,
dumb, man.
well,
Like,
yeah, they don't think much. But
uh,
the conversation of access should really be a thing. We're seeing a lot of issues with movie tickets being uh way overpriced compared to what it was like 10 years ago. 10 years ago you can get a movie ticket for maybe $11. Like a general movie ticket for something like Project Hail Mary that's coming out, day 1 it's like 11, $12, right, in the US. And now it's like 17 for a single ticket, which doesn't seem like much of a hike, but if you're trying to go see as many movies as possible in a
just say if
theater
you're taking a
on
family
top
of
of everything
4,
else. Yeah, like, our family, we do it, every year we go see a movie on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Um, Now I have Regal Unlimited, so it's not a big deal, but growing up, it would be like a $200 venture for a family of 6 people. Um because, 2 parents and 4 kids with us. That's like a $200 venture and snacks and stuff on top of that. Um, so a question of access really comes into play as far as art goes, and we need to kind of figure that out. I don't know what that is going to be. I'm not really big on streaming that much. I would have preferred, like, um if we wanna bring back rental, stores for physical media, I'm down. If we wanna bring back, like, a Blockbuster or a Hollywood Video or something,
this is
fucking do it.
the m the large majority of people don't want that, which is why
I know, because 'cause
Blockbuster
they're
went,
lazy.
because people don't want it.
It's
Um,
so sad, though, 'cause
it is sad, man.
that's the one way that we could get a lot of exposure for a lot of films like Riceboy Sleeps, is if people were forced to go out and, like, look at something physically in front of them. Because in an algorithm, it's just gonna be fed to you, right? Whatever they want you to watch is gonna be fed to you. Something like Rice Boy Sleeps would be buried. But if you go to a a physical location to go and pick something up, you could actually come across it and be like, "Yo, what is this?" And maybe you wanna watch it after reading the back of the back of the sleeve or whatever. Um, I don't know, there's a conversation about access that needs to happen,
Mhm.
and this is a perfect example of that because it was buried, and it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, it was buried. It's sad, man.
It really is
Sad
sad.
reality we live
I
in.
Yeah, I I don't know what films were up for international films at the time in the Oscars. I could probably do a quick,
I think it was the
search real
2020
quick.
f yeah, I'll have a look.
Um, it was, yeah, 2023 Oscars,
Yeah, let me have a look. Um,
but I'm curious to see, like, where I would slot that in.
alright, so All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. Difficult year, man.
That is a difficult
Difficult.
year, but I'd still probably slot that in somewhere,
Plus,
if I'm being honest.
think about it. The Quiet Girl and EO, they're BFI.
Yeah.
Close was Mubi.
Oh, yeah, true.
Argentina 1985 was Amazon, I think. And then All Quiet was Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Money talks, bro.
That
Money
yeah.
talks.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. That's yeah, and they didn't have a lot. That's why they
Uh,
weren't able to really, to get out there like that.
no,
God, that really fucking sucks because
it
it's a
does
good
suck.
film. If anything, the whole point of this is to be saying, "Hey, go give this a watch." I know it's gonna be
Yes.
difficult to find, but please go do it. Is there anything else that you want to add kind of in summary?
No, just that this film is incredible. Um, Beautiful work of art and does everything it needs to do. Emotionally gripping. Um, and it's just beautiful to look at as well. As 16mm cinematography is unreal, especially for a film which doesn't cost much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
They
so
did a
good.
lot with very little.
Yeah, they did maximalist filmmaking with very little. That's what I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Did you do anything on your YouTube channel for this movie at all?
I haven't, to be honest with you, I'm taking a break from it because
Yeah. Fair.
my apprenticeship's finishing early. I've got 2 months left to finish
Oh, okay.
4 months worth of work. So
Oh, fun.
I'm very, very busy. And also my sous chef has left, so I'm having to fill in the gap. Um,
Fun.
and I'm busy, but I might. I'm thinking of recording a video later. I don't know. But see how I feel later.
Yeah.
See how I feel.
Would you? I'm assuming I asked this question. I think I asked it the last time that we were on.
Mhm.
Um, would you give this movie a rewatch at all?
100%.
Um,
Any day.
yeah,
Any day.
I kind of figured that would be your answer. Um, so I just wanted to, I like to
Any
ask that
day.
question.
Any day. I'll give this a rewatch.
Yeah. Um, what film do you think people should give a watch for the first time that you have seen recently that hasn't really gotten a lot of attention? Do you feel that people may need to go give it a watch?
Except for Riceboy Sleeps.
Yeah, except for Riceboy
Um,
Sleeps, obviously.
maybe Lydia Forever,
Okay.
which is a very disturbing film, but at the same time, it is another slice of life film. Very realistic, very similar to Lars von Trier in a way, where it's just completely. There's a lot of narcissism and self-obsession that the film goes into, but it's a somehow horrifyingly beautiful experience about a girl growing up in Russia. Um, yeah, it's fucked, but it's great.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd say
I'll have
that.
to give that a watch for sure. I'll have to add it to the watch list, I guess. Where can we find you, Josh?
We
On the
can.
interwebs.
Well, I'm everywhere in this day and age. I'm on YouTube at Just Joshings. I'm on not Netflix. Fucking hell, TikTok at Just Joshings. It wouldn't surprise me if I was. Twitter. I'm on Just Films, but I barely go on Twitter anymore, to be honest. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Um, Just Joshings on TikTok mainly.
Nice.
So.
Cool. I will make sure that I put everything in the description. We'll
Mhm.
probably talk about another film that we end up
Hell
scheduling
yeah.
for later
Hell
on.
yeah.
Here in a second. But until next time, everybody go watch Riceboy Sleeps, and I'll see everybody later.
Peace out.